Duke Ellington's famous tune, "It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing," says it the best. And unfortunately, for all jazz students, working on your rhythm and having a good swing feel is one of the most difficult things to do in jazz. But luckily for you, in this week's episode, I'm going to give you 6 proven rhythmic drills that will help you drastically progress in your rhythm and your swing feel. All of my live program students have used these drills and have seen tremendous results in their playing. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2023 to get our latest information on all the updates that are coming up around Black Friday and our biggest release yet of Jazz Piano School 4.0. Not to mention our best offer of the year. With that being said, let's dive right in.
All right, so for the first exercise, what we're going to do is play continuous eighth notes. Now, this can be continuous eighth notes or quarter notes, This can be done over a blues. It can be done over one chord progression. And all I want you to use is 2 notes, right? So we're not worried about the notes here. We're just worried about the rhythms. I have my tempo set at 90. I'm going to be playing over a blues. So I'm going to use the F natural, an A flat, and B flat. So I'm choosing 3 notes. I wouldn't use more than 3 notes, probably less if you're a beginner. Continuous eighth notes and quarter notes. Here we go. I'm going to do it first and explain more about it. Okay. Now, I bet you probably wouldn't have thought I could create such a decent sounding solo out of just 3 notes using quarter notes and eighth notes, right? Now, one of the main things that this very effective and efficient rhythm drill does for all students is that it forces you to really play with the drums and bass in the groove. I recommend playing with Iro Pro like I did. It also takes away the thought process of having to think about notes, so you're only focused on rhythm. And you start to get as creative as possible and think outside the box. It literally forces you to do that. Now, you can do this over anything. So if I switch to like a 2-5-1, I can just do this over a 2-5-1. Maybe I'll choose 3 notes. So I'll choose A, C, and B. A, G, and C. I was looking at the notes and thinking about the different notes, and I'll do the exact same exercises. Here we go. Right? So on and so forth. So that's pretty much, it's very easy. And the more simple progressions you use, the easier it's going to be. The more difficult progressions you use, like going all the way up to using full tunes and expanding your note range, the more difficult it's going to become as well. But the beauty to this exercise is when you keep it simple. So I recommend keeping it simple, only using 3 notes, using a simple blues or using a simple progression. The blues is usually the best. And just work on getting your notes in time and locked in with the groove. You're just looking to place your ear on the Iro Pro, on the bass and drums, and really locking in your quarter notes and eighth notes with them, okay? Number 2. This is something students need to do way more of, and that's going to be swing your scales up and down. And all this is doing is getting used to the swing feel of swinging scalar motion up and down. Now, that's essentially just working it up and down. We do want to use a metronome, and I want to go through a couple of different ways you can use your metronome. So, the first way, which I don't highly recommend, though, if you do have a good swing feel already, you can put your metronome just on a tempo, let's say 107. So I'm going to take this 107 tempo, and I'm going to swing my scale up and down now with the metronome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, not everyone who does this will be able to tell whether they are swinging or not. And that tends to be a big issue. And when this happens, the student or the teacher will say, "You're not swinging." And then the student goes, "Well, why? Can you help me swing more?" And then the teacher goes, "Yeah, just listen and swing harder." And then the student goes, "Well, how do I do that?" And the teacher goes, "Well, go back and listen to more albums, and you just got to swing more. Just feel it," right? Has anyone had that experience before? Because I have. It's extremely frustrating because you get no information. I'm going to give you a plan right now. I want you to put your tempo or your metronome up to about let's say 190. Now, my accent, actually, I'm going to put this on. So this is going to be triplets. It's counting on triplets. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to subdivide our quarter note into triplets. All jazz eighth notes should be feeling the eighth note, or the quarter note, I should say, as a triplet subdivision. Triplet, 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 trip. Now, what I'm doing is simply removing the middle subdivision of the 3 triplet subdivision, and that's how I'm aligning my eighth notes. So I'm aligning my first eighth note on the downbeat, the tri, and then I'm removing the pull, and then I'm playing my second eighth note on the let. Triplet, 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 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And triplet, triplet, 1 and 2 and triplet, trip. If I were to say the subdivisions, it would sound like this. Trip, let, 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 trip. So I have my metronome clicking on triplets right now, and I'm going to swing my scale up and down while feeling the triplets. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, you get the idea. So essentially what we're working on now is aligning our eighth notes with the triplets, because this is how we're going to start to help our eighth note lines make them feel like swing with the triplet subdivision. Now, if you're not used to doing this, I encourage you to do it around 170, and I promise you, when you start to do this, if you're not aligning with the triplet on your metronome, you're going to feel a disturbance in the swing, okay? Not a disturbance in the force, disturbance in the swing, right? Here's a very slow version of this, and I promise you it will tell you the truth, whether or not you are swinging, every single time. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time. Good. Now that's a very simple exercise that all beginners should do. Even advanced players, I will do this sometimes to really test my swing feel. And even me, I'll come in and out occasionally and I'll feel it. It probably won't be perceptible to the audience, but I feel it and I know it's there. And I'm like, shoot. So I drill this at much faster tempos. I'll go to 300. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Even that's not that fast, okay? I'll go faster tempos than that. That's going to be number 2. Number 3 is to take this exercise and progress it even further. So once you're used to this, your next step is to start to actually improvise over one change, a chord progression, a blues, or even a full tune with your metronome clicking on triplets. That's the next hardest thing. So let's say I'll take the tune Have You Met Miss Jones. I'll put IRL Pro on, okay? And I'm going to have my metronome clicking on triplets. And let's say I'm going to put it on, about 270. Okay? So I'm going to have it on 270. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to improvise with my right hand. Actually, I'm sorry. IRL Pro won't be clicking. It'll just be the metronome. And I'm going to improvise through Have You Met Miss Jones. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so on and so forth. So that's essentially your next goal, is to put the metronome on. It doesn't have to be through a full tune. That will be quite difficult for most of you, actually. And that particular tempo, again, is going to be quite difficult as well because it's rather slow for a quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's around 80 to 90, I would say, right? And so essentially, you can start with a chord, you can start with a progression or a tune, but you're going to improvise spontaneously now, not just using a scale, and have the triplet subdivision going. Number 4, here's a great one. Starting and ending your phrases on certain beats. So now I'm going to get rid of the metronome. And what I'm going to do here is I'll keep the tune Have You Met Miss Jones, and I'm going to start a phrase on the downbeat of 1 and end a phrase on the downbeat of 1. I did this with my mastermind students earlier today, and they loved it. They had a bunch of fun. They were playing with IRL Pro. So that's my goal. I'm going to start a phrase on the downbeat of 1 and end on the downbeat of 1. Then I'll wait 3 beats and do the same thing on the next set of 2 measures. Here we go. Screwed up. One more time. Really, I need some more work on this. Okay. I was screwing up all over the place. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I was starting on some ands of 4s by accident, starting on some ands of 1s. So I was not doing the drill correctly, and that's a good demonstration. Let's leave that in. I want to leave that in because you need to know that your goal, no matter what lines you can play, it's forcing you. It's absolutely forcing you to do the exercise, right? So let's try another one. I'm going to start on the downbeat of 2 and end my line on the downbeat of 2. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. I won't count anymore. Okay? So what this is doing is forcing you to really get comfortable with all the different placements of starting your line, obviously, and ending your line. Now, this can get as complicated as starting to say now, okay, I'm going to start my line on the upbeat of 1 and end on the upbeat of 3 or the downbeat of 3. Let's do the upbeat of 1 and the downbeat of 3. So I'm going to start my line on the upbeat of 1, end on the downbeat of 3. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1. Sorry. I'm going to end my line on the downbeat of 3 on the next measure. So I'm going to carry over the bar line. I'm not just going to play a little snippet of phrase, although you could do that. You could take little snippets and go, okay, I'm going to start on the upbeat of 1 and end on 3. Why don't we do that first, and then I'll carry over the bar line. Here we go. So I'm just going to play small snippets. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. So that's just a small snippet. That's a great exercise as well. But now I'm going to carry my line over into the next bar. I'm going to start on the upbeat of 1, end on the downbeat of 3. Here we go. It's less about the notes, obviously, in this particular drill or any of these rhythmic drills, really, for that sake. And I wanted to let you know that there's really 2 categories you need to focus on when for improvisation, comping, and all other things. Rhythm and notes. Rhythm and notes, right? These are 2 completely separate skill sets and abilities that you need to drill and work on separately, right? And like Duke said, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. So rhythm, I would argue, is much more important than the notes you play, because I can make a couple of notes sound really good as long as they have good rhythm. So that's going to be exercise number 4. Starting and stopping lines on different beats of the measure and practicing that. Number 5, I want you to put your metronome clicking as different beats. So what I'm going to do now is you can do this in a number of different ways. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. No, I don't think I can. You can't really do this with iRoll Pro, unfortunately, like change the meter of the tune unless you actually write out the chart. Count and duration, no. Yeah, unfortunately you can't. So I'll just use a metronome. I'll play. So if I have the metronome on 120, I'm going to feel quarter notes because this will be the quarter note, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So my playing and the way I'm feeling it is subdivided by 4 beats, right? So when I play or improvise, it might sound like this. So I was feeling all quarter notes. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this click on half notes. So the actual tempo will be exactly the same. But the click I'm going to be hearing now is not a quarter note. It's going to be a half note. So I'm going to hear only 2 clicks per bar. And this is going to change the what. It's going to change the way I'm feeling. It's going to change the way I perceive time. It's going to leave more space. It's going to create less anxiety in me because I don't hear that tong, 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 right? All I'm going to hear is ta, ta, ta. So let's see how things change. Maybe my playing will be different, but it's a great way. It should be different. It's a great way to start to feel time differently and feel the space much more. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so much more space. I felt more space. I was thinking differently. I wasn't thinking about all the beats, which was really, really cool. And then from here, again, we can start to go to whole notes. So maybe I'm just feeling whole notes now. So if I put this on whole notes, let's see if I... Let me see here. A little faster, right? 2, 3, 4, 1. So if I have this on 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's the click. So you have all the space now. And actually, this is quite difficult because you need to feel the space. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that is very challenging. That's a very challenging thing to do where you're just feeling the space. Clearly, my playing was a lot different, right? I was doing a lot more movements, a lot more reharms. I was kind of placing things in different odd ways that I would never have tried before. That's all due to this rhythmic drill. Number 5. Number 6, practicing lines that contain all 4 of these rhythms: quarter notes, eighth notes, triplet, and 16th. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to improvise over Have You Met Miss Jones. In every line I play, I'm going to make it long enough where I'm going to use a quarter note, an eighth note, a triplet, and a 16th note, all within one line. Now, this is going to drastically help the contrast and excitement of my lines. You know, you don't want to overdo it, obviously, but this is just an example of an exaggerated way to work on all of your rhythms within one, okay? I'm going to put this on, let me see, let's try 90. Yeah, that's about good. Here we go. Let me start this again. No left hand. That last one wasn't it. Great exercise as well. Trying to really start to integrate all of the different types of rhythms into one line. Now, there's also a variation to this where you can just work on all just one straight rhythm. Like, let's just say you're just going to work on eighth notes. Then all you do is improvise with eighth notes. It doesn't have to be continuous straight eighth notes. You can definitely do eighth notes in different ways, but just all eighth notes. Then, guess what? All triplets. Maybe I do all triplets. so on and so forth. Maybe I do all 16 notes. 1 E into 2 E into 3 E into 4 E. And then again, it doesn't have to be continuous. You can go da 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 da, right? It doesn't have to be a continuous strand, but you just want to make sure you're using all of the same rhythm, okay? So just to recap, again, the first one, continuous eighth notes and quarter notes with the groove. I did the example of the blues. That one's all about locking in with the groove. Number 2, swinging scales up and down with the metronome. And we want to put our metronome to triplets. The next step, number 3, was to improvise with the metronome on triplets. So now I would improvise lines with my metronome clicking on triplets. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Right, so you're improvising with the metronome on triplets. Number 4, starting and stopping lines on certain beats. And of 2, downbeat of 1. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, picking different beats. Number 5, putting the metronome clicking on different subdivisions of the quarter note. So essentially half notes, you could do whole notes, and you could even go eighth notes, right? You could do eighth notes and 16th notes as an option as well. And then number 6, finally practicing different rhythms, and that's all you play, or combining them all into one line. So whether you're practicing all eighth notes, all 16th notes, all triplets, or trying to jam them all into one line to try and create a variety of them and move back and forth between each one, okay? Hope this helped you all, guys. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2023 to get the latest news and updates on our Black Friday release of Jazz Piano School 4.0. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of our free, amazing education, all of the free podcast blogs. We do have a membership if you're looking to take a next step forward with us, get access to over 1,000 different jazz piano videos, playbooks, mini courses, a main course curriculum, success path, and so much more. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@jazzpianoschool.com. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy practicing.